Okay, let's start. Good evening, all. So today we'll discuss about block tree, and in between these we will discuss about identification of problem and formulation of research questions. Then we shall proceed towards the hypothesis, its nature and types. Then we shall proceed to sampling technique, and finally we will conclude our tools and techniques of data collection. So let's start from the unit 10, identification of research problem and formulation of research question. So this is your first uh, step of conducting research. You have to identify the research problem which you need to investigate or conduct the study or research. The research problem needs to be related to the state of nature, and it also needs to be related to the relationship between different variables that you are going to study, how the relationship between different variables. Now question arises whether the selected problem or topic is good one or not. How we can be able to identify the selected problem that we are trying to conduct or we are selecting for the study or research, whether it is good one or not, whether it is appropriate or not. So in order to make your title or topic or research problem a good problem, a researchable problem, you need to follow certain criteria in order to make your research problem a good problem. What are those? Your research problem needs to be needs to express relationship between two or more variables. Topic or the problem that you want to conduct research or study, topic or the problem should state the relationship between variables. Then only your problem will be well identified or selected. The second criteria you need to fulfill that the problem should be stated clearly, precisely, and unambiguously. Unambiguous. It means the terms that you have mentioned in your title or the problem should not carry double barrel meaning, or else you will be or it will carry double meaning or multiple meanings of a particular term that will have different meanings for different persons. So please try to avoid those kind of words which carry or sorry which carry the double meaning. So in order to make your problem good one, in order to make your problem an appropriate one, you need to state the problem very precisely, very clearly, and without any ambiguity, in a very precise manner. The third criteria in order to make your problem a good one is like that your statement of a problem must be such that it would imply possibilities of empirical testing. I do repeat, statement of a problem must be such to imply possibilities of empirical testing. It means whatever you want to, whatever you want to study, whatever the topic you have selected, while selecting your topic, while identifying your research problem, you need to state the problem so precisely that The topic itself highlight on the possibilities of empirical testing. So these are some of the criteria if you follow in identifying the research problem, then your topic or the problem will be a good problem. Next, question may be raised here. Then, if we are to follow these criteria, if we need a good research problem or a topic or a title which will be appropriate for the researcher, I mean the part of the researcher, it will be easier, feasible for the researcher to carry out the research work and how to select a good research problem or from where sources we will select or identify our appropriate. So there are different sources which the researchers can select research problem in order to make the research problem a good one. First this is one of the sources of selecting research.
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍ ଟିକେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ସାର୍ ଭଲସେ ଶୁଭୁନି ସାର୍।
ଭଲସେ ଶୁଭୁନି?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ମୁଁ ଭାବୁଛି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ବି ଶୁଭୁ ନଥିବ ବୋଧେ।
Am I audible clearly?
Hmm. So your voice is clear, but if you could speak a bit louder, then
Okay, I am making my voice more louder.
Sir, actually, it may be the volume issue, I think.
I don't know what's happening with me, but good morning and afternoon during the daytime, but it's evening. Maybe some sort of coverage problem. I hope so. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible clearly.
Okay, okay. Mm. So different sources of selecting a good problem are like that. There are certain theories. If you go through those theories will help you to identify or select a good problem. For example, if somebody wants to conduct a research, especially in the field of education, from the broader aspect of psychology, then you should consult different theories of learning, like trial and error, like your conditioning, like learning theory. If somebody is interested to study,
sir, nothing is audible.
nothing is audible.
No, sir, we are unable to listen.
So one request to
Sir,
the
one.
participant who is Susama madam, kindly turn off his voice. So that's actually from there the sound is coming. It's chant sound. I'm requesting Susama madam, kindly turn off your voice. I mean, mute your voice.
Okay, sir. I am trying.
Thank you.
Madam, just click on your profile and you will have the option. There will be mic
Okay.
mic
I
pick.
don't understand how to. Okay, okay. I am
Now,
trying.
touch on the screen, the black
Hmm.
screen. You will
Where is
have the
that
option.
touch screen?
Madam,
I I have no such idea. Okay.
Madam, just click on Sar's profile picture where Sar is visible. Just click on there.
Uh,
Are you
madam,
able to find?
do you see an emoji of mic?
Yes,
On that you click.
and it
okay.
will turn red.
Yes, now it is white and black.
Okay, okay, okay.
And
Am I
now,
audible? Am I audible now?
yes, sir, you are clearly audible. But that sound is coming, and that's why it's irritating.
Actually, I have no such idea, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay, madam.
Okay, sir. You please carry on, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I was discussing about the sources of selecting a research problem. In order to make a research problem a good research problem, you need to identify different sources, and from those sources you may identify or select a good research problem. What are those? At first I was talking about theories are one. Theory is one of the source of identifying or selecting a good research problem. First I was highlighting about if someone is interested to study research, from
ସାର୍ କିଛି ବି ଶୁଣା ଯାଉନି।
Isubune.
ସାର୍ ସ୍ଲୋ ଶୁଭୁଛି ବହୁତ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍ ଆପଣ ଗଲା କାଲି ଯେମିତି ଡବଲଟା ଦିଟା ଆକାଉଣ୍ଟ ଖୋଲିକି ଯୋଉ ଟିକେ ଲାଉଡଲି
Okay,
ଶୁଭୁଥିଲା ସେ ଭଳିଆ ଟିକେ କରୁନାହାନ୍ତି।
okay, let me try.
Sir, one suggestion. Sir, sir, one suggestion. If you are trying on laptop now, so if
Yes.
you can try from your mobile phone, that would be better.
Okay, let me try.
So we are using mobile phone. It's good.
ସାର୍ ଆଜି ସିଙ୍ଗଲ ପାୱାର ଦେଖଉଛନ୍ତି କୁଆଡେ ଶୁଭିବ।
ବୁଲୁ ତମ ପାଖରୁ ହିଁ ସବୁଠୁ ବେଶୀ ଆବାଜ ଆସୁଛି ହେଲା ତମେ ଟିଭି ଫିଭି ଦେଖୁଛ ବୋଧେ ପାଠ ପଢିବା ସମୟରେ।
ହଁ ହଁ ଭାଇ ଲାଗିଛି ସାଇଡରେ ଆଉ କଣ କରିବା।
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଚ୍ଛା।
ସିଆଡେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେନ କରିଦେଲେ ମୋର ମୁସ୍କୁଲି କରିଦେବେ ଇଆଡେ
ଓ
ପାଖରେ
ହଉ।
ଆସିକି ମୋବାଇଲ ଧରିକି।
ନାଇଁ ମତେ ସାର୍ ଅପରେଟ କରିବା ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଜଣା ନାହିଁ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ମୁଁ କିଛି କହୁନି ପରା। ମୋର ହଉନି, ମତେ ଟିକେ ଆଇଡିଆ ନାହିଁ ତ।
ନାଇଁ
ମ୍ୟାଡାମ
ନାଇଁ
ଏଇଟା
କିଛି
ସିମ୍ପଲ ବହୁତ ସିମ୍ପଲ ଆପଣ
ସିମ୍ପଲ ଜିନିଷ
ଆପଣ
ଖାଲି ସ୍କିନ୍। ହଁ କହିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ କହିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ।
ଲାଇକ ଆପଣ ଆପଣ ସ୍କ୍ରିନ ଉପରେ ଟଚ୍ କଲା ପରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ତିନିଟା ଅପସନ ମିଳିବ ତଳେ। ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି ମାଇକ୍ର, ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି ଭିଡିଓର, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି ଏଣ୍ଡ ବଟନ। ତ ଆପଣ ମାଇକ୍ ଉପରେ କ୍ଲିକ୍ କରିଦେଲା ପରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ପାଖରୁ ଆଉ କିଛି ଆୱାଜ ଆମେ ଶୁଣିବାନି।
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଚ୍ଛା।
Am I audible now?
ୟେସ୍
ୟେସ୍
ସର୍
ସାର୍।
ଫାଇନ୍।
Okay. Okay. So I was just highlighting on the different resources of selecting a good research problem, where I was discussing about theories are the source of selecting a good research problem. Suppose one is interested to carry a research on different theories of learning, especially in the field of psychology, then the researcher needs to go through different learning theories like your trial and error learning theory, classical conditioning learning theories, insightful learning theories. All these theories will help you to identify a broader area of interest that will suit you, and from those theories you will have an insight to select a good research problem. Likewise, in other fields also you may opt or you may go through different theories of learning, or sorry, theories that will help you to develop a good insight about the different components of the interested area that will help you to make or to identify a good research problem. Am I audible clearly?
ୟେସ୍ ସାର୍।
Yes, sir.
Okay. The second source is all about your experience. As the researcher, whatever you have, whatever you have experienced till date, that will count much, or that will help you to identify your interest area. Number one, to identify the specific problem that you want to study. It's only because of your experience. For example, one math teacher who is experiencing the issues or problems in mathematics class, that will help him or her to take a study, to conduct a research on mathematics or pedagogy of mathematics. So that experience will help you to make your research problem a good, appropriate, and precise problem. Suppose one teacher is having lots of experience in management, so he may take, or he is interested to study researches on SMDC, SMC, School Management Committee or School Management and Development Committees, because of his experience that will guide the researcher to carry out the research in better way, that will pave the way of the researcher or will help the researcher to carry out the research because of his experience or her experience in that particular field. So your experience will act as the source of identifying or selecting a research problem. Similarly, an English teacher and a teacher who is teaching Odia, a teacher who is teaching Hindi, they may opt their specific interest areas because the background knowledge will help those researchers or the specified researcher to carry out the research in a better way because they have experience, they know better in their specified field or specialized field, that will help them to identify the problem to carry out the piece of work. The third source to identify your problem is discussion. So while selecting a problem, there may be chance that we may fail to forecast or to have an outlook or forward looking whether this problem is feasible for the researcher or feasible for me. If I opt or if I select this problem, will there be any problem or there will not be any problem? So these are the sources to identify your problem. So that's why your discussion is also a source of selecting and identifying a good problem. What happens generally in most of the cases, in most of researcher cases, the researchers discuss with their respective supervisors, with their classmates, with the other teachers, with the experts in the specific field to have an in-depth knowledge about the particular issue, about the particular problem. So your discussion acts as a source of selecting and identifying a problem. Yesterday we are discussing about the effectiveness of virtual learning. We are also discussing about implementation of midday meal. Likewise, this discussion will help you to identify whether it will be feasible, whether it will be researchable or not. So that's why your discussion will help you to select and identify a good research problem. Again, the fourth source, which is very important, dissatisfaction. If we are satisfied, then we will not move further. That's why we are called as dissatisfied souls, atruptatma. Human wants are unlimited. So we are called as dissatisfied souls. जितना भी मिले ना वो कम है, तो ढूंढते जाते हैं, we want more, because it's our tendency. Human tendency is like that. Our wants are unlimited. So dissatisfaction leads to or makes the individual be so curious to
search further. So whenever you are dissatisfied with a system, you will try the other option. For example, just before some time, some of you told, sir, please off or switch on your mobile and log in through mobile so that it will be easier to listen to you. It will be easier for us. It will be easier for us to listen to you because no, you were dissatisfied, even if I am too. So we tried the further. So this is one of the source of selecting and identifying a good research problem. যদি फॉर एग्जांपल आम कहे कोरोना आमर किसी क्षति कर न था कोरोना आमको आहुरी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाई था आम खुशी होता एवं वैक्सीन पछे दौड़ी न था आज सब मास्क पिंधि बुल न था we are dissatisfied, we became dissatisfied with that COVID-19, and the studies are going on all over the world to have vaccine, to protect humanity, to protect humanity, human existence. Then the last one, from literature, you can identify and select a good research problem. Literature, different, you can search through search engines. You can go through different magazines. You can go through different newspapers, and especially while selecting or while searching for a good research problem, we go on reviewing different studies that have been conducted by different authors or different researchers in different parts of the country or of all over the world. Why? The very simple answer to that question is we need a particular, precise, clear research problem. And in order to select and identify that research problem, we need to consult, we need to take help from the studies that have been conducted that will help us to develop our knowledge, to develop our good nick over the problem, so that we can continue, we can complete the research that we are going to undertake without any hurdle, or else research will be a dream forever. एमती टॉपिक नहीं गले जो टॉपिक की भाभी नथिले आगु केते प्रॉब्लम हबो एंड टॉपिक अधारे प्रॉब्लम एते हला अधारु रिसर्च स्टॉप्ड देयर सेठी बंद हे गला आगु बढ़ी परले एमती टॉपिक नहीं गले जोठी की वेल्थ एंड हेल्थ रो लॉस होबार अछि लाइफ रो लॉस होबार चांस अछि डाटा कलेक्शन जिबा पई गलो साइड रही गलो रिसर्च रो लाइफ गन देयर research remained at that particular place. So in order to avoid all those kind of problematic situation, the first thing you need to identify and select a good research problem on the basis of these sources. That may be theory, that may be experience, that may be through discussion, that may be through reviewing different literatures. This will help the researcher to have a good knowledge, good command over the interest area, and to identify a particular, precise, specific topic to carry out the research. After, yesterday I was just talking about, after the top problem is identified and selected, you need to state it. Please remember keep it in mind that your topic is not similar or is not equal to your statement of the problem. Your title is all okay, but you need to state the problem in a statement. For example, if there is some crime, now highlight is there, that is the title. X was killed by Y. That is the topic. But when there is a statement, when the police records different statements from different persons or eyewitness, it means detailed description is there. So your title is not similar or is not exactly similar as your statement. So statement, after selection and identification of the problem, you need to state or define the problem, which is called as statement of the problem. What happens there? Now, after identification, the problem is to be stated or defined in a form amenable to research that will tell everything that the researcher wants to do during the course of study, during the course of his research work. It will tell everything what is going to happen, the source of collecting data, with what instrument, where the data will be collected, and what will be expected out. All these will be in one paragraph, that may be 4 to 5 sentences, that will be called as your statement of the problem. It means a detailed description of the title is all about your statement of the problem, and a precise topic or name of the problem is called as your title. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So you are
Yes, sir.
clear, clear, sir.
Okay. Next, we shall move to, yesterday we are discussing about, delimitation. Now, how to delimit your study? How to delimit? You have to delimit, because whenever you go on studying a piece of research, the different dimensions are in number very vast. So one researcher during his span of research study or life even, we can't cover all the elements, all the areas, all the aspects or elements of the study or the research work. So we need to delimit the study with regard to our financial support, with regard to the time, with regard to our energy, with regard to our capacity, with regard to the authenticity and all. How far a researcher can go, that he or she needs to know himself or herself, whether I will be able to do this or not, whether the time will be permitted for me, or the time will permit me to conduct or complete this study within this stipulated time or not. You have to keep in mind, and accordingly you need to plan your research. So that's why you need to specify the delimitations with regard to your variable. For example, you may take one study academic achievement of or learning achievement of secondary school students in Odisha. I do repeat, learning achievement of secondary school students in Odisha. Now there are number of variables that or those may be associated with that particular study. Some may consider that learning achievement of secondary school students in relation to gender and locality. Some may consider, or one of you consider, that my study will be confined to socioeconomic status and parental education. It means there are a number of variables. You need to delimit it, that in that particular sense, the this study will be, if you are writing for a proposal, research proposal, that will be all in future time. This piece of work or this study will be delimited to the variables like gender and study habit, or socioeconomic status and study habit, or regularity and achievement, like that, or IQ, intelligent question or intelligence, intelligent question high IQ, low IQ, वगैरह IQ, and you can say study habit. So you have to delimit. That will make you clear and precise of your topic. Second, you can also specify the delimitation of your topic in terms of sample size. Odisha କଥା କହୁଥିଲେ, learning achievement of secondary school students in Odisha. Is it feasible? Is it easy to collect data from all those secondary school students of Odisha as a researcher, as a student of post-graduation? It is very difficult. It's very difficult with regard to our time, with regard to our financial condition, with regard to energy, with regard to knowledge, with regard to feasibility, movability, whatever. We have to face lots of challenges. So there may be 1 lakh students, and you may consider a sample, sizable, proportionate sizable sample that needs to be delimited. Okay. Again, design. You may also delimit your study with a particular design. Survey, experimental, okay, or relational, historical, or qualitative survey qualitative research करिबो, ethnography ହେଇପାରେ, grounded theory ହେଇପାରେ, case studies ହେଇପାରେ. We'll discuss later on all those. Again, the study may be or needs to be delimited with regard to your tools and techniques. Tools. Someone was asking yesterday whether we may apply one tool in one study, or we may apply more than 1 or 2 tools in one study. It depends upon the researcher. It depends upon the nature of study, that whether you need to make your study a good one or just rough and top. Isn't it? So that depends upon the interest of the researcher and the nature of study that you are going to undertake or carry out. That's why you need to specify, you need to delimit your study with regard to tools that you have applied or you are trying to develop and apply, and the techniques that you are going to follow in order to collect the relevant information from the desired respondents. Key information. It means, suppose there are lots of tools we'll discuss today, like your rating scale checklist, observation schedule, interview schedule, tools of a coach interview schedule, perception scale, questionnaire, focus group discussion guide. But suppose in that particular study, learning achievement of secondary school students in Odisha, the researcher used or tries to or wants to use only 2 tools. One, a data capturing format, and two, an interview schedule for the teachers. That's all. Maybe, if it satisfies the purpose of the study. So you have to delimit your study, while writing delimitation of the study, you may focus on this. Like techniques, interview, observation, discussion. These are the techniques. But you may not that interview was followed for collecting relevant information from the key informants. So your study will be delimited like that. Then come to, we'll move to, this is all about your problem, how to state it, how to delimit the problem. Then we shall move to hypothesis. Hypothesis Kujiba. Now, considering the nature of study, if you follow quantitative research, then hypothesis is must. If you follow qualitative research, then research questions are must. And if you follow mixed method approach, then you may opt both research question, hypothesis. So if it is quantitative research, then like we say hypothesis kariba, then what does it mean? Hypothesis. It means we predict, we infer that this may be the possible solution of that particular problem. What does it mean? So hypothesis is nothing, rather it's a tentative solution to a particular problem. A tentative solution to a particular problem is called as.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I have a question. Sir, what is the difference between qualitative and quantitative research?
What is the difference between qualitative and quantitative? In quantitative research, mostly we use the statistical techniques and quantify data with regard to numerical, and especially we quantify data. How much? What is the extent? But in qualitative research, we go for thick description. Why it is, how it was, why did this happen so. We'll discuss later on. You have in your material, you have in your course, quantitative and qualitative. We'll discuss. Let me complete this part. We'll discuss later. Okay? Am I audible?
Yes,
No,
yes,
sir.
sir, audible.
Okay. So I was discussing about hypothesis. So hypothesis is considered as a tentative solution to a particular problem. For example, why do we hypothesize? That may be a question. Kahin to anuman karo. Kahin ki? Now we don't have a particular solution at first. For example, batre jiba samare while riding on a bike or scooty or moped, all of a sudden your bike or scooty stopped. So what we are expected to do? Anyone? While moving on a bike or scooty, all of a sudden your bike stopped. What will you do?
Check my something else is there. I'll check my sir,
What
check
will
my
you?
bike.
You are not audible actually.
I'm not
No,
audible.
sir, you are audible. Naru, you are not audible.
So what is supposed?
Sir, I will check.
Anybody else? Anybody else other than him? We are supposed to, we are expected to check whether
For, yes,
petrol is
yes, sir.
finished. Then what we do? Now we check our petrol tank, isn't it? If we found that petrol is there in the tank, then what we search for the other. We search for the other. We go on kicking the bike. Maybe there may be other problem. Anticipating that this may be the possible solution, you know, or else after that, what we generally do, we go on unblocking the flow pipe of petrol, whether it is flowing or not. There may be some sort of blockage in that pipe that may restrict the flow of petrol from tank to the engine. Suppose at that particular moment you got that the petrol is not passing through the pipe, you blew, then you jot down the pipe to the tank. After some time, you kicked and the engine started. So what you came to know? You got the idea that petrol was not being supplied through the pipe due to some blockage. That is your solution. But before that, you anticipated that there is no petrol in the tank. That's why my bike stopped at the middle of the path. So anticipate. That's why while conducting study or research, especially in quantitative study, quantitative research, we do hypothesize. So research is all about hypothesis. Quantitative research. We hypothesize that this may be the tentative solution of that particular problem. Now, how can we hypothesize? There are different sources. First comes your experience. For example, जो टिके पूर्व कहूली पेट्रोल कथा जे सेही भलिया सेकेंड टाइम बा पुणी मासे पर सेही भलिया सिचुएशन हम पाखु आसे आमे आउ टांकी देखिबानी आमे डायरेक्ट से पाइप पाखु जिबा वाई ना हमर पूर्वरु अनुभूति अछि जे पाइप रे पेट्रोल पास होनथला दैट्स व्हाई योर बाइक स्टॉप्ड at the middle. How did you come to know? Only because of your experience. You have experienced that before 1 month, and after 1 month, the same problem repeated, and you directly came to that pipe that this is the root of cause. So from experience, from creativity of the researcher, hypothesis is formulated. Again, some background knowledge. Having no knowledge about petrol supply, pipe, etc., we may not be able to hypothesize. बंद हो गला संगे संगे फोन लगेला घर को बाबा मो गाड़ी एठी बंद हो गला आशा मते नहीं जा because you don't have background knowledge. बाटरे जाउथले पंक्चर हो गला गाड़ी दी स्टेप आगरे अछि पंक्चर मारिया पई पंक्चर क्लियर करिया पई रिपेयरिंग सेंटर अछि सेठी छिडा हले फोन कले घर को गाड़ी पंक्चर हो गला मु नहीं परबी आशा नहीं did this happen? Because we lack the background knowledge that what is to be done if we come across this kind of problem. So once you got the background knowledge, if the problem is repeated for the further more time, you will remove those problems by taking remedial measures. Again, scientific theories, authentic knowledge is also very helpful to hypothesize. Now come to different types of hypotheses as far as your educational research is concerned. What are the different types of hypotheses? First, your research, your hypothesis, research hypothesis may be two kinds, directional and non-directional. The hypothesis may be of two kinds. One is directional and the other one is non-directional. Let me cite one example so that it will be easier to understand. For example, directional কথা আমি বলছি, directional hypothesis. The name clarifies the concept, directional hypothesis. It means there is certain direction. When we do hypothesize, in that hypothesis, there is certain direction. How? What is that kind of direction? The direction may be in one form. Let me cite one example. Some may say that in that particular topic, learning achievement, some may say that the learning achievement of boys is lower than that of their counterpart. It means what? You hypothesize that in secondary school level or in secondary school, as far as secondary school learning achievement is concerned, boys are lower than the girls. It means you directed one point. That is what we call directional hypothesis. So your directional hypothesis stipulates the direction of expected difference or relation. Stipulates. It specifies the direction of the expected differences or relationship. The other one, non-directional hypothesis, does not specify the direction of expected difference or relationship. Let me cite one example so that it will be easier to understand. In the first instance, I cited the example that the learning achievement of secondary boys or secondary school boys is lower than that of their counterpart, means girls. Now, if we are to change it into non-directional, then we can say there is difference between the learning achievement of boys and girls. Do you find any kind of difference between these two statements? Two hypotheses. One, I do repeat, the first hypothesis I am citing repeatedly. The learning achievement of boys is lower than girls. Second quality, there exists difference between the learning achievement of boys and girls. Do you find any kind of difference between these two hypotheses?
Yes, sir.
Yes. At the first hypothesis, I specified the direction that boys are lower than the girls. But in second instance, second hypothesis, I only stated that there is a difference, but I didn't specify that who is better than the other. Better than the, that's why this is non-directional, not specified. Yeah. So these are two types of hypothesis. Again, we come to other two types of hypothesis. One is a declarative hypothesis, and the other one is null hypothesis. Declarative hypothesis. What is that? Now, it makes a positive statement about the outcome of the study. Declarative means, I do repeat, declarative form of hypothesis makes a positive statement about the outcome of the study. Positive statement. For example, constructivist approach has good impact on learning achievement. Another example, activity method has good impact on learning achievement. Positive. We declare that there is a positive aspect of a particular method. But if we make it into null form, the other category of hypothesis that is called as null hypothesis, it means there is no relationship. No relationship exists between these two. For example, first କହିଥିଲି कि boys are lower or less achiever than girls. Now, if we null form जदि करदबा null hypothesis, then we can say that there exists no significant difference in learning achievement of boys and girls. आंक भितर किछि पार्थक्य नाही. It is null hypothesis. Sometimes it is called as statistical hypothesis. So null hypothesis is otherwise called as statistical hypothesis. For example, you may take another example that the learning achievement of athletes and non-athletes do not differ significantly. The learning achievements of athletes and non-athletes do not differ significantly. It means we nullify. There is no significant difference between the athletes and non-athletes as far as learning achievement is concerned. That's why it is called a statistical hypothesis. And there is also the research hypothesis. Research hypothesis only states the difference between two variables. खाली कहबो कि डिफरेंस अछि जोड़ा हम कहथि डिक्लेरेटिव टाइप पे खाली डिफरेंस अछि नॉन डायरेक्शनल कथा को सॉरी बट कहबोनी स्पेसिफाई करबोनी कि किए बड़ किए सान कार बेटर कार खराब. So research hypothesis signifies, specifies that there is a difference between the learning styles of boys and girls. Into kahar learning style better, it won't specify. Only it specifies that there exists difference not specifying one particular gender, particular socioeconomic status, or particular variable. So this is all about the hypothesis. Now, question may be raised: what is the importance of hypothesis while discussing about research? Why do we formulate hypothesis? Especially in quantitative research, it is inbuilt. Hypothesis is inbuilt. So hypothesis, we anticipate that this may be the expected outcome. If we are trying to compare or study the learning achievement of boys and girls at a secondary level, then we may say that there may be some sort of differences in the learning achievement of boys and girls. We may also state that there doesn't exist any significant difference between boys and girls as far as learning achievement is concerned at secondary level. So what happens there? We only hypothesize. With that anticipation, we collected data, we analyzed our data, and found this is the time whether you are to accept the hypothesis or reject. जहाँ आकलन करके जाइथिले क्षेत्र दिशेटा पाइले ताहले we are to accept the pre-formulated hypothesis, or else you have to reject the hypothesis. Likewise, जब तुम कोथली बाइक रे जाउथलो अधा बाटरे बाइक बंद हो गला, फास्ट हम आकलन करले कोन हाइपोथेसाइज करले पेट्रोल सरी गला बंद हो गला, टांकी खोलिले देखिले पेट्रोल भरी के अछि. So our anticipation came wrong, proved wrong. आम आउ ताकू घटले तेल सरीगला बंद हो गला देखले टांकी तेल अछि. So that anticipation, that hypothesis proved wrong. We moved to other, whether the petrol is being supplied smoothly to the engine or not. That's why we checked the pipe of connectivity from engine to the petrol tank. So one after another, if it is found as you have stated, as you have formulated, it's okay, then accept it, or else you have to reject it. This is the tentative, expected outcome. So your hypothesis at the time of interpretation and analysis and interpretation may be rejected and may be accepted. If you reject, you have to specify the cause. If you accept, you have to also specify the cause with regard to your statistical techniques. This is all about your hypothesis.
Sir?
Bolo.
So if I have taken 4 hypotheses,
Okay.
so if I have taken 4 hypotheses,
Okay.
and I found the first hypothesis is a reason and
Yes.
proved to be the truth. So shall I have to test the further 3?
Yes. As far as all these 4 hypotheses are concerned, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Madhav?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yes. As far as your 4 hypotheses are concerned, if at a go you have to test one hypothesis. Is that clear? At a
Yes,
go,
sir.
you have to test one hypothesis. Suppose hypothesis number 1. while testing it with regard to your findings, God, this is the problem. This is the problem. That's why I was not signing in from open. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So at a go, you have to test one hypothesis at a time. Suppose while testing your first number one hypothesis, it was proved that the findings is up to the mark of hypothesis 1. So you have to accept. Clear?
Yes, sir.
You have to accept it. And the second hypothesis will be based on the second objective or second research question. For example, just I am citing one example so that it will be clarified. Suppose in that particular study, learning achievement of secondary school students in Odisha, your objective of the study was that to assess the learning achievement of boys and girls in English, mathematics, and science. Suppose this was the objective, or in basic school subjects, whatever may be your objective. And pertaining to that objective, you have formulated that there doesn't exist any significant difference between the learning achievement scores of boys and girls in mathematics, English. So coming to your analysis part, you have to analyze or make analysis objective wise with regard to or followed by your hypothesis. Am I clear? So एक number
Yes, sir.
objective जहाँ तक नेतला से objective अनुसार मतलब analysis करीबो एक number hypothesis need to be followed by objective one. If it is found okay, then accept it. If it is not, then reject it as far as statistical techniques and tabulation is concerned. Likewise, you may have different objectives and accordingly your hypothesis will be framed up to second, third, fourth. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes. I got my answer.
Next. Yeah. So next we shall move to sampling. Yesterday that was the point, the sampling population. So sampling देखिए में from whom the researcher needs to collect the relevant information or data. So your sample is collected through a process. That process is called as sampling. The process that the researchers follow to select sample is called as sampling. And there are different types of sampling techniques. In broader sense, there are two kinds of sampling methods. Two kinds of sampling methods. One, probability sampling. Number two, non-probability sampling. So whenever we ask to select samples from the population, then we need two representatives of the population because it's not feasible on the part of the researcher to collect data from the entire population. That's why we select samples and we collect data from the sample and we infer that the findings will be generalized for the entire population. So sampling, sampling is that strategy which helps in selecting a subgroup from a larger group. Clear? So basing upon that, ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଗୋଟେ larger group ରୁ ଆମେ କିଛି sample ନମୁନା ଆଣିବା, then there are two methods followed. One is probability sampling, the other one is non-probability sampling. First, let's discuss about probability sampling. Probability sampling means what? As the name suggests, probability sampling technique. Probability sampling technique. It means there is probability that all the individual units will get an equal chance to be selected as a sample. For example, your population is now, including me, 14. Excluding me, your number is 13. Today's attendance is 13. So this is your all population today. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is your
Sir, it is too difficult to understand.
Yes.
Sir, it is too difficult to understand.
It is too difficult to understand. It's very easy to understand. English रे असुविधा होती है?
Nice, sir.
Okay, I am coming to that. I am trying my best. Just I was describing that methods of sampling. आमे जो sample draw करिबा दुईटा प्रक्रिया अवलंबन करके sample बा नमूना आमे नहीं पारिबा. गोटे प्रक्रिया होची probability sampling technique, आ गोटे प्रक्रिया है non probability sampling technique. प्रथमे जिबा probability sampling. नार जणा पछि संभाव्य. Probability sampling technique आमे follow करिबा संभाव्य. It means 13 जन पिला जो आज अच्छ समस्ते इक्वल चांस पाइबो to be selected as sample. कौन कले चिंता करेबे, that is my question. कौन कले आम पाखरे 13 टांक पिला पाखरे इक्वल चांस रहिबो to be selected as sample. को टेक्निक हम फॉलो करिबे?
If we
Equal
randomly
chance
select,
रहिबो. Yes,
if we select randomly,
randomly. For example, जब मैं लॉटरी पकई दवा हमको 10 टा पिला नबार अछि. ओके? हमें 13 जन अच्छे बा हमको 5 टा पिला नबार अछि. हमें 13 जन को लॉटरी उठेबा. isn't it? 13 जन पाखरे इक्वल चांस रहिला to be selected within that 5 number of samples. किंतु for example कौन जदि सही प्रक्रिया अवलंबन न करी थांते लॉटरी सिस्टम बा रैंडमाइजेशन जदि न करी थांते जने के आसी थांता 13 जन को मध्यरु फॉर एग्जांपल मी हम 13 जन को मु सैंपल नै थांती मु कहि थांती रोल 1 टू रोल 6 जाके पळे आस मोर 6 टा सैंपल दरकार 5 टा सैंपल दरकार त मु रोल 1 टू 5 नंबर डाकी देली rest 6 onwards seman chance paile to be selected as sample.
No, sir.
That is why the second category comes here, non-probability sampling technique. Second category comes here, non-probability means each individual unit didn't get equal chance to be selected as sample. So this is all about your non-probability. Now I am coming to the first one. Probability sampling technique I follow करूचे. While following probability sampling technique, each individual unit of the population gets equal chance to be selected as sample. For example, ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି lottery system କରିକି 13 ଜଣଙ୍କ ଭିତରୁ ମୁଁ 6 ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ନେବି. ତାମାନେ 13ଟା ଗୁଳା ହବ, 13ଟା ଲଟେରୀ କରିବି ମୁଁ, ମତେ 6 ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ନବାର ଅଛି. 13 ଜଣ ଉଠେଇବେ, ଯିଏ ଉଠିଲା ସେ ମୋର ହବ sample. So what I did, you got equal chance to be selected as sample. It means there is probability that 1 to 13 number of students may be selected as sample. May be selected. There is possibility. But I need 6, I need 5. That's why from you only 5 or 6 will be selected. But you got the chance to be selected as sample. That is the theme or purpose of probability sampling. So in probability sampling technique, there are different kinds of techniques, sub-techniques जोड़ा हमें कहूचे probability sampling technique रे, जेमती हमें कहूचे lottery method. हमें lottery काटुचे, दशहरा आसिले, पूजा समय आसिले, पार्वण आसिले, लक्ष लक्ष लोक काटुचंती. We have the equal chance. जहार उठिला, but we have the chance. आना lottery box रे आमो गुलाटा आमो टोकन का भी अच्छी. जे उठिबो that is separate issue. But we have the chance to be the winner of the lottery, to be winner of the prize. That's why probability sampling technique रे आसुची कोन lottery method, simple random sampling. Simple random क्लास से 40 टा पिला बसचंती, जने गले लोक हाथ बुले कि डाक दिल 10 जन को नहीं पड़े गले, से जानना कि XYZ जे भी आसलो से 10 जन को नहीं गला. Simple random डाकले चल. So all got the chance. जानना कि केमती हे गला. ये भलो कि खराब जानने कार रोल नंबर कोन कार आईपी कोन किसी ना. So all got बसी गले जोठी हाथ मुंडरे बाजिला तांको नहीं गले. वो की जो जानना. Simple random. Third, say probability sampling how to be achieved, random table method. Random table method. You can take the help of random table method with computer. Suppose your number is 100, all these numbers will be there. You may move from row wise and column wise, and your desired number is 20. So I know 20 sample number. You may move on randomize from column wise and row wise. 20 हेला जोड़ी साइड बंद कर दे काम खत्म. तमे जानना ता भीतर की आसीबो रैंडम नंबर का टेबल रे थिबो. Third subcategory of probability sampling is all about systematic sampling. Systematic sampling. For example, there are 100 number of students and your desired sample size is 20. In systematic sampling, what would you do? 100 number of students are there. Write down the roll numbers 1 to 100. Systematic sampling, your desired number is 20. Here, 20 जन sample नबा. 20 जन sample को नबा. तमे कोन करिवो? Suppose तमे कोन कइलो फास्ट 5 नंबर पिलाटा को धरिवो. केत नंबर पिला?
5 नंबर.
5 नंबर पिला. That is called as kth number. Kth number. That is systematic sampling technique. So first sample जदि तमरो 5 नंबर पिला हला, 5 नंबर रोल नंबर, then second sample तमरो किया हबो? add 20
10
25th roll number. Sorry. I did mistake. If your desired number is 20 and your total sample is 100, then you have to divide that. You have to divide that 100 by 20. କେତେ ହେଲା?
5
5. So each fifth roll number will be considered as your sample. So 5 is the first sample. Then add 5 becomes 10 is the second sample. Then add 5 becomes 15 is the third sample. Likewise up to 100. So this is the total population, desired sample size, divide ହେଇଗଲା. You got the case number, that becomes your first sample. Add the case number with the first sample, that becomes second. Add, then becomes third. Likewise, you will get 20th sample. So in that way, everybody gets an equal. This is probability. Probability is there. Coming to next, stratified sampling. Stratified. This next probability sampling technique is called as stratified sampling. For example, you need 20 students out of 40. So your sample size is suppose 20. Stratified kale kon karibo? You have to stratify, stara kardaba. For example, on the first strata, 20 will be divided 10 boys, 10 girls. Okay. Again, 10 boys will be divided on the basis of, suppose, high parental education, low parental education. से जो 10 जन बालक आनी 10 जन बालक मध्यरु कहार parental education अधिक 5 जन को नबो आउ 5 जन पिला नबो हाई लो parental education और 10 से 10 एक्स परिवार. Likewise, on the second strata, separate girls को पाखरे कौन करिवो ना रखिवो separate सेमती 5टा high parental education, 5टा low parental education. So this is what we call strata. At the first strata, we classified on the basis of gender. On the second strata, we classified on the basis of parental education. You may again also classify on the basis of study habit, regular study habit, irregular study habit. You may also stratify the sample on the basis of socio-economic status, poor, rich, mediocre, whatever may be. So accordingly, the 20 sample will be stratified into different strata. Clear? Likewise, there is cluster sampling. Cluster, CRCC सुनती school cluster resource coordinator group. Okay. So these are the techniques followed for probability sampling technique. Again, the second type is non-probability sampling technique. If you follow this non-probability sampling technique, then each individual unit of the group or the population will fail to get equal chance to be selected as sample. They may not get or they will not get equal chance to be selected as sample. How? In that particular sampling, or sample of 20, if you follow incidental sampling, ବାଟରେ ଘରକୁ ଯାଉଥିଲ, 4ଟା ପିଲା ଦେଖାହେଲେ, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଡାକି ପଚାରିଲ, ଡାଟା ନେଇ ପଳାଇଲେ। ପୁଣି ଆଉ ଥରେ ସକାଳୁ ଆସିଲା ବେଳକୁ ସ୍କୁଲ ଯାଉଥିଲେ 4ଟା ପିଲା ଦେଖା ହେଇଗଲେ, ପୁଣି ତାଙ୍କର ଡାଟା ନେଇ ପଳେଇ ଆସିଲେ। ଏମିତି କରି କରି 5 ଜଣ ଡାଟା କଲେକ୍ସନ ହେଇଗଲା। Great sample. But what about the rest? They didn't get a chance to be selected as sample. They didn't get the scope to interact with you. They were deprived of interacting with you as the respondent. So that's why ଆମେ କଣ କହୁଛେ କି non-probability sampling ରେ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ incidental sampling technique is followed. ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ପ୍ରବାଦ ଅଛି, ବାଟରେ ଯାଉଥିଲା କମାର ଲୁହା ପଜେଇ ଦେ ଆମର। Incidental is non-probability. Non-probability ଆହୁରି ହବ sampling. Snowball sampling. ବରଫ ଖଣ୍ଡ ଯୋଉ ଉପରୁ ଖସେ, ସେ ସାଥିରେ ଗୁଡେଇ ବଡ କାର ହେଇଯାଏ। ଛୋଟଟା ଖସୁଥିବ ଗୁଡେଇ ହେଇକା ବଡ ଆକାର ହେଇଯାଏ। କେମିତି ସେ ସ୍ନୋବଲ୍ ସାମ୍ପଲିଂ ଆମେ ଫଲୋ କରୁ? ତମେ ଯାଇଥିଲ ତମ ସାଙ୍ଗ ପାଖକୁ ଡାଟା ଆଣିବା ପାଇଁ ରିଗାର୍ଡିଂ ୟୋର ଟପିକ୍, ବା ତମେ ଗୋଟେ ସ୍କୁଲ ହେଡମାଷ୍ଟର ପାଖକୁ ଯାଇଥିଲ ରିଗାର୍ଡିଂ ୟୋର ଟପିକ୍। ସେ ହେଡମାଷ୍ଟର କହିଲେ ମୁଁ ଏତିକି ଜାଣିଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡ ଅଛି, ସେ ଏ ବିଷୟରେ ବହୁତ ଭଲସେ ଜାଣିଛି, ସ୍କୁଲ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟ ଫଙ୍କସନିଂ କେମିତି ହୁଏ ସେ ଭଲସେ କରେ, ତା ସ୍କୁଲରେ ଭଲସେ ହଉଛି, କାରଣ ଆମ ସ୍କୁଲରେ ବେଶୀ ପଲିଟିକ୍ସ ହଉଛି। So you moved, you rushed to the person who was identified by the first member. So ତମେ ଯାଇଥିଲ ଜଣଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ, ସିଏ କହିଲେ ଆଉ ଜଣଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ, you moved to the other. That's why your number of sample goes on increasing. Again ସେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଲୋକ ପାଖକୁ ଯାଇଥିଲ, ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଲୋକ ପାଖରୁ ସିଏ କହିଲା ମୁଁ ଏତିକି ଜାଣିଛି, ଆମର ଏସଏମସି ର ଚେୟାରମ୍ୟାନ ପ୍ରେସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ସିଏ ଆଉ ଅଧିକା ଜାଣିଛି, ତା ପାଖରୁ ତମେ ଡାଟା ଆଣିପାରିବ, ତା ପାଖକୁ ଗଲା ସିଏ ଆଉ 2 ଜଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଲା। So your number goes on increasing. So in this way, snowball sampling ଆମେ କହୁଛେ non-probability sampling. Likewise, purposive sampling technique is followed in non-probability sampling. Purposive. ଆମର ଦରକାର ରୁରାଲ ପିଲାଙ୍କଠୁ ଡାଟା ଆଣ, ତମେ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛ ରୁରାଲ ପିଲାଙ୍କର ଯେମିତି ସ୍ଲାସ୍ କରୁଛି, ନାସ୍ର ନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଆଚିଭମେଣ୍ଟ ସର୍ଭେ କଥା ହଉଛି, ଷ୍ଟେଟ ଲେଭେଲ ଆଚିଭମେଣ୍ଟ ସର୍ଭେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହଉଛି, ସର୍ଭେରେ ସର୍ଭେ କରାଯାଉଛି ଅନ୍ ଦ ବେସିସ୍ ଅଫ୍ achievements. So ସେଠୁ କ'ଣ କରାଯାଉଛି, ସ୍ପେଶାଲି ରୁରାଲ ଉପରେ ହଉଛି। So ତମେ ସପୋଜ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛ ରୁରାଲ ପିଲାଙ୍କର ବା ସ୍ଲମ୍ ପିଲାଙ୍କର, କଟକର ସ୍ଲମ୍ ପିଲାଙ୍କର, ବା ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରେ ରହୁଥିବା ମାଷ୍ଟର କ୍ୟାଣ୍ଟିନରେ ରହୁଥିବା ଲୋକେସନରେ ରହୁଥିବା ସ୍ଲମ୍ ପିଲାଙ୍କର ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ ଆଚିଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଏଲିମେଣ୍ଟାଲ ଲେଭେଲରେ କ'ଣ? So your sample will be purposive. ତମ ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ହଉଛି ତାଙ୍କଠୁ ଆଣିବା ଡାଟା। ତମେ ଆଉ ଯିବନି ଜେନେରାଲ ସ୍କୁଲକୁ, ତମେ ଆଉ ଯିବନି ଖୋର୍ଦ୍ଧାକୁ, ତମେ ଆଉ ଯିବନି ବଲାଙ୍ଗୀରକୁ, ତମେ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ ଯିବ ମଞ୍ଚେଶ୍ୱର ସ୍ଥିତ ସ୍ଲମ୍ ଏରିଆକୁ, ଯୋଉଠିକି ଏଲିମେଣ୍ଟାରୀ ସ୍କୁଲର ପିଲାମାନେ ଯାଉଥିବେ, ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ସ୍କୁଲ। So your sample becomes purposive as far as your nature and type of study is concerned. So these are some of the techniques you may follow while while following your non-probability sampling technique. Now, after sampling technique, how do you collect information which is desired by you to reach at your conclusion, to derive a conclusion based on your finding? Thereby, you need different tools by which you will collect information. You need different techniques applying which you will collect information or data to to find out the answer with regard to your objective and research question or hypothesis. So that's why tools and techniques of data collection play a major role in conducting research. What are different tools? What are different techniques that are used or likely to be used or you are going to use in your study? What are those? Let's discuss about the tools first. There are different kinds of tools. Yesterday we were discussing about, there was a question whether we will apply one tool or we will use multiple tools to collect the relevant data. So tools them देखिबा ଟିକେ କାଲି କହୁଥିଲି tool or technique फरक कौन? Tool is your instrument and the way by which you adopt, implement the tool, apply the tool is called as the technique. Knife becomes your tool and the way you handle and cut your potato, tomato, brinjal is called as your technique. So tools, them देखिबा, in research there are a number of tools that may be used for collection of relevant data considering the nature and type of study. What are those? Questionnaire. Questionnaire is one of the tools which may be used for collection of relevant data. Questionnaire may be, again, questionnaire may be structured and unstructured. Suppose, do you agree that MDM provides quality food to the students? If it is
So repeat
structured,
the question. So
do you agree that, or do you feel that MDM helps in supplementing nutrition? If it is structured, answer will be yes or no. Do you agree? If it is unstructured, then you may add if yes, how, and if no, why? Open-ended. So questionnaire is one of the tools which may be structured and non-structured. The second type of tool is all about rating scale. Rating scale. It means you have to, there is ample scope to rate. ଯେମିତି ପରିବା ମାର୍କେଟ ବା କୌଣସି ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ କିଣିବା ପାଇଁ ଯାଉଛେ, ମୂଲ ଚାଲ କରୁଛେ, ରେଟ୍ କରୁଛେ, ଲାଇକ୍ ୱାଇଜ୍. So rating scale is used to rate the performance, opinion, perception about certain thing, event or incident. For example, rating scale रे तमरो थिबो rating बा rate करिया पे. For example, midday meal as statement thibo epote statement epote rating thibo midday meal has in supplemental nutrition. Strongly agree if it is 5-point scale. Strongly agree. Agree. Undecided. Disagree. Strongly disagree. If it is 5-point scale. If it is 3-point scale, you may opt agree, undecided, disagree. So 3-point, 5-point, 7-point scales are mostly used for as rating scales in order to elicit the desired information. Okay, and your rating scale may be of numerical, descriptive, graphic, ranking, and post choice. These are your rating scales. Again, another tool may be used, that is your attitude scale. Attitude scale. जोटा आम कौचे कौन पॉजिटिव स्टेटमेंट रही नेगेटिव स्टेटमेंट रही फॉर एग्जांपल रहिबो आई लव टू टीचिंग सॉरी आई लव टीचिंग द स्टूडेंट टीचर रो तमे एटीट्यूड जाने पई चाहछो तमे सेटिंग स्टेटमेंट दबो आई लव टीचिंग स्टूडेंट्स इन एनी सर्कमस्टेंस तमे कौन तो जानि परिबो आराम से यस और नो बहुत लोग कहे इन एनी सर्कमस्टेंसेस ना ना मु एनी सर्कमस्टेंसेस से पढ़ी पारि स्पेसिफाइड सर्कमस्टेंसेस नहीं पारे आई डू नॉट लाइक टीचिंग पॉजिटिव स्टेटमेंट रहिबो नेगेटिव स्टेटमेंट ताले हम कहबा एटीट्यूड जानि परिया लोकन परसेप्शन जानि परिया लोकन कौन सा उपलब्धता कर. Again, another tool is used like your checklist. Checklist. Yesterday I was discussing about checklist. सौदा पाई जाउछ ओटा लिस्ट ने कि जाउछ सौदा दुकान में सौदा बा ग्रोसरी आनी सरला परे से लिस्ट घर पानी का आछे ग्रोसरी काढुछे बैग रु गोटे गोटे टिक मारुछे चेक कर लिस्ट इज टू बी चेक्ड और इज चेक्ड काली काढु सारणी हमें करि कि नउछे या देइछि अछि टिक मारो यस यस अरे 14टा जिंस लिखिछि 13टा जिंस देइछि गोटे मिसिंग जा दुकान को नै के आसो checklist. So what happened? Checklist is a thing called checklist is you have to check the availability or not. Suppose some checklist called quality education provided in elementary school. School re building achi yes no. Classroom achi yes no. Toilet achi yes no. Teaching learning material achi yes no. देखिलो टिक मारला यस और नो रे जदि अछि यस जदि नहीं नो इज ऑल अबाउट चेकलिस्ट ओके मिड डे मील तमे करछो चेकलिस्ट करि परिबो डेली दिया होची यस सप्ताह को देखला दिया होची क्वालिटी फूड दिया होची यस दिया होची हेल्थ एंड हाइजीन मेंटेन करा होची ना देखिलो रोसे आज ता झाळा बोयो से एंती पोछि रहउची झाड़ा से पड़छ रोसे दे से रोसे कर नो
इट इज ऑल मेन
अप्लाई करा जाउची हैंड वॉश बिफोर एंड आफ्टर फूड
नो सर
देखिला दिया जाउनी दिया हो चेकलिस्ट चेक कर बारंडा रे बसी खाउछंती एकाठी कि ना अलग अलग खाउछंती कास्ट फीलिंग्स अछि देखिला नाही ओके यस मार्क नो फीलिंग नो barrier. So checklist may be helpful to conduct research and it will act as a tool to collect information. Again, different tests are also used to collect information. Suppose someone is trying to conduct a study on ICT skill of the elementary school teachers. ICT skill. केते दूर पारंगमता अछि टीचर मानकर आईसीटी ऊपर देखिबा कोन करबा टेस्ट डिवाइस करबो टेस्ट लैपटॉप नहीं जीवो मैडम टे लैपटॉप ऑपरेट कर देले टे पीपीटी खोल देले टे पीपीटी ऑपरेट कर देले टे वर्ड फाइल नेविगेशन कर देले टे एडिट कर देले टे डिलीट कर देले टेस्ट so these are the different tests even you can give them different tests performance test kari paro verbal test kari paro again inventory is one of the tools which are used inventory directly indirectly एमिति क्वेश्चन करी तो इन्वेंट करिया पई सत्य आपे आपे बाहर के आसी इन्वेंटरीज तो कोता ना इन्वेंटरी होचे inventory is used to collect relevant information. So these are some of the tools: assessment scale, a questionnaire, rating scale, attitude scale, checklist, observation schedule, interview schedule. These are the tools. Interview schedule is tool. Interview is technique. Observation schedule is tool. Observation is technique. Now coming to different techniques of data collection. Different techniques of data collection.
So,
Yes.
so sorry for interruption. Sir, can you please speak some more about attitude scale?
Attitude. Attitude scale is devised to know the attitude of person, whether they prefer, whether they like or dislike. For example, I जो कहे teaching attitude, whether they prefer or not, whether they love teaching or not, whether
Please,
you
sir, again repeat,
love,
sir. Sir, please
whether
again
you
repeat.
whether you love eating Maggie or not, whether you love eating egg or not, regarding food, regarding profession, regarding activity, you can know the attitude of any concerned person. Whether they are happy with their job or not, job satisfaction. जाने पे चाहते एलिमेंटरी स्कूल टीचर का attitude नहीं करिए ना मनोवृत्ति कौन वर्तमान में जॉब करता
Sir, is there some sound problem? Please, sir. Sir, is there some sound problem?
no madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So attitude scale may be utilized to unveil the attitudes of persons regarding profession, vocation, any job, any activity. Do you like this? Don't you like this? So, this is a question of positive or negative statement dele hame jani pariba reality ta ko whether they prefer or not, whether they like or dislike. That's why this is the keyword teaching and research aptitude. बैंक का पीओ दिला उसको एप्टीट्यूड एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट करा जाए ये क्वेश्चन is not. Now coming to different techniques हमें देखिए कौन ना इंटरव्यू ऑब्जर्वेशन interview as a technique हमें देखिए it may be structured as well as unstructured. It may be structured as well as unstructured interview as a technique.
Sir, please describe in Odia.
Sure. Okay, आशुचे साक्षात्कार में पहुंचे साक्षात्कार स्ट्रक्चर साक्षात्कार में पहुंचे ପୂର୍ବରୁ ସବୁ ଲେଖା ହେଇକି ଥିବ। ଇଟ୍ ମିନ୍ସ ୟୋର ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚର୍ଡ ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ଗୋଟେ ସାଂଗଠନିକ ଭାବେ ହେଇଥିବ, ଯୋଉଠିକି ପୂର୍ବରୁ ନିର୍ଦ୍ଧାରିତ ସମୟ ଥିବ, ପୂର୍ବରୁ ନିର୍ଦ୍ଧାରିତ ହେଇକି ପ୍ରଶ୍ନଗୁଚ୍ଛ ଥିବ, ସେଇ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନର ଉତ୍ତର ପାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଗୋଟେ ପରେ ଗୋଟେ ଆପଣ ପଚାରି ପଚାରି ଚାଲିବେ, ଯାହା କହିବ ନୋଟ ଭଳି ଲେଖି ଚାଲିବେ ସାକ୍ଷାତକାର ସମୟରେ। But there may be chance
Sir,
that
that's called
by
interview.
conducting interview, yes,
Yes, sir.
structured interview, structured,
Okay, sir.
संगठित साक्षात्कार।
Okay, sir.
किंतु अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड इंटरव्यू कथा कहूचे, अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड इंटरव्यू कथा कहूचे, questions may be asked as per your mentality. पचाच किंतु कहूचे ना, some of the politicians, some of the great persons, they prefer structured interview. आगे देखिए दियंती या मते पचारिबे, आगुआ पचारिबे, आगु पचारिबे किछ पाइबे। So they have a schedule fixed. एतिक प्रश्न होबो, एतिक आंसर आपन करिबे। आगु ताऊ क्वेश्चन दे दे, हम रेडी। किंतु अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड इंटरव्यू हेले नायक मूवी भलिया क्वेश्चन कोठी आसीबो, आपन रेडी हे। प्रथम क्वेश्चन आंसर देले सेही आंसर क्वेश्चन हे दिबो। सेकंड क्वेश्चन आंसर देले थर्ड क्वेश्चन सेट बाहरिबो। अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड काई केटा हला, काई केटा हबनी, जदि एटा आपण कहउछली काई तले आरटा हबनी, चलला। Nothing fixed. Questions are not fixed. Unstructured. Informal talks. Second is all about your observation. Observation as a technique. Certificate tool रे observation schedule, पर्यवेक्षण सारणी, एठी कोची पर्यवेक्षण। Observation as a tool is used for data. Sorry, observation as a technique is used for data collection. Observation schedule is a tool. Observation is a technique. Is used for data collection and research. Now, observation may be participant and non-participant. Participant observation and non-participant observation. Participant observation जहाँ को ऑब्जर्व करिवो ता संगे रही कि ताको ऑब्जर्व करिवो। पार्टिसिपेंट ऑब्जर्वेशन जे ऑब्जर्व करिवो, जहाँ को ऑब्जर्व करिवो ता संगे रही खाई पी हसी खुशी मिली मिसी खेल पड़िया रे, प्लेग्राउंड रे कोचे, प्रेयर क्लास रे कोचे, क्लासरूम रे कोता सहित मिसी ता सहित जानि कि ताको जानि कि पार्टिसिपेंट ऑब्जर्वेशन। नॉन पार्टिसिपेंट ऑब्जर्वेशन कोन हबो, दूररू रही कि अज्ञात ऑब्जर्व कर से खेल पड़िया खेलुची, तमे बैकग्राउंड थाई कि कंपाउंड वॉल पाखर थाई कि निश्चित ऑब्जर्व करियो whether the child is maintaining discipline or not, whether the child is following rules and regulations of sports or games or play or not, without his consent, without his knowledge. ता अज्ञात तुमको ता ज्ञान बिना तुम ताको ऑब्जर्व करियो, so that reality may be revealed. पिला तुम एमती हुए ना बेले बेले पिला तुमको जानिबे तुम ताको ऑब्जर्व करछो माने he will exhibit artificial behavior. रागो आसुतले दांतरा केले कि तन बसन से दांतरा केले कि हसतो, so reality may not be revealed if it is participant. But a chance also the child will feel a friendly atmosphere and satta sabu koita. So these are some of the techniques of collecting information or data for conducting study. Something totally focus group discussion. Focused group discussion. Points but discussion will be focused on your points. This is one of the technique. But focus group discussion guide is a tool. ଆଗରୁ ଲେଖା ହେଇକି ଥିବ କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଠି କେମିତି ତମେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ପଚାରିବ ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ କାହିଁ କହୁଛି ଇଜ ଏ ଟେକ୍ନିକ୍ କେମିତି ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ପଚାରି ତମେ ଉତ୍ତର ଦେଖିବ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଡିପେଣ୍ଡସ୍ ଅପନ୍ ୟୁ ତମେ ଯଦି କମାଣ୍ଡିଂ ହବ ସେ ତମକୁ ଉତ୍ତର ଦବ ନାହିଁ ମୁଁ ଦେବିନି ତା ଇଚ୍ଛା ଏତିକି ଗତି କରିବ ତମେ ଅବଜର୍ଭ କଲାବେଳେ ତା ସହିତ ଯଦି ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡଲି ବିହେଭ୍ କରିବ ସେ ତମକୁ ଭଲସେ ଟ୍ରିଟ୍ କରିବ ଭଲସେ ବ୍ୟବହାର ଦେଖେଇବ ତମେ ତାକୁ ହାକିଂ ଭଳିଆ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରିବ ସେ ତମକୁ ସେଇଭଳିଆ ବ୍ୟବହାର ଦେଖେଇବ ଫୋକସ୍ ଗ୍ରୁପ୍ ଡିସ୍କସନ୍ କଲାବେଳେ ବି ତମ କଥା କହିବା ଶୈଳୀ ସିଏ ଯଦି ବୁଝିପାରୁନି ତମେ ତାକୁ ଟିକେ ପ୍ରମ୍ପଟିଂ କରିବ ଇନଡାଇରେକ୍ଟଲି ସେ ତମକୁ ଠିକ୍ ଆନ୍ସର ଦେବ ଅର୍ ଏଲ୍ସ ତମେ ଆନ୍ସର ସେମିତି ଲୁଚିକି ରହିଯିବ ଆନ୍ସର ତମେ ପାଇବନି So these are the tools and techniques of data collection and the last part of our discussion of today is all about what are the characteristics of a good tool जो आम करवा जंत्र जहाँ मध्यम इनफॉरमेशन बा डाटा आनिबा तथ्य संग्रह करवा what are the basic characteristics that should be possessed by all those tools number 1 validity वैधता हवा उचित जो उद्देश्य नहीं कि हमें प्रश्न करते से उद्देश्य यदि हम साधन हम ताहले आम कहवा दि टूल इज ऑफ वैलिड और एल्स नॉट आम जाने चाहूचे पिलार लैंग्वेज स्किल आम ताको मैथमेटिक्स रे प्रश्न पचारिबा लैंग्वेज स्किल जानि परिबा नै the purpose may not be fulfilled so the tool lacks validity again our tool needs to be reliable reliability is one of the characteristics of tool good tool reliability for example आज कहूचे बापा को ना कौन अमक काली आउ गोटे पिला को कहलान ता बापा को ना आउ गोटे कौन मुझे देखी जो आई विटनेस मैंने दिखती आज कहले मु देखी से छुरी पेलला से लोकटा मरीगला काली कहलानी मु देखी से छुरी धरला किंतु छुरीटा कौन से मारची पछपट कि गोटे धक्का देला से छुरीटा हाथ पछिला छुरी धरियाटा मु देखी कि मारियाटा देखी so the eye witness is not reliable okay so consistency in test result is called as your reliability consistency आदि जहाँ जी क्वेश्चन दिला पाँच दिन पर टेस्ट रिजल्ट ताहले the test is reliable it means we can depend on the test for example आम टेम्परेचर मापुची ज्वर पाई इना मापिले 100 देखेला गोटे सेकंड बेला मापिला बेलू 0 अछि can that instrument thermometer will be reliable you can't rely upon that can't rely upon that the tool is not reliable then objectivity adequacy and usability एभली टूल करबा जहा को यूज करि परिबा or else that tool will not be a good tool क्वेश्चन करे कि नै जिबा षष्ठ श्रेणी पिलांग पई षष्ठ श्रेणी पिलांगर मुंडो 10 हाथ ऊपर से क्वेश्चन रहइबो माने क्वेश्चन लैंग्वेज एते टॉप थिबो प्लस 2 लेवल रो कि षष्ठ श्रेणी पिलांग पई क्वेश्चन करि that tool will not be usable it lacks usability lacks adequacy so these are the characteristics that you need to follow while developing your research tool okay this is all for today I hope I am clearly audible and I hope I am trying to make you understand
Yes, sir. Sir, you do on mobile only.
okay I will
Sir, one question.
yes
Sir, we had studied about indirect and a direct interview. No, sir. Indirect and direct observation. So, is that same what participant and non-participant observation is?
there is also one term that is natural and artificial isn't it? ଏମିତି ବହୁତ ଜାଗା time
Okay, sir.
ପାଇବ। So direct observation ତମେ କହୁଛ ସେଇ ଆମେ କହୁ ତାକୁ participant observation, indirect
Yes, sir.
observation ଆମେ କହୁଛେ non participant observation. You will remain away from the participant and you will observe without the knowledge of the particular performer for the child, so that you will get a reality. Sometimes it happens that when the child is aware that you are observing or he or she is being observed by you, then there is chance that he may exhibit artificial behavior, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So indirect observation is sometimes required.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I need to ask a question, another.
Okay.
Sir, can I? Sir, yesterday we read about the validity, and validity is two types: internal validity and external validity. Today also we read about the validity. So is they are same or different?
Okay. We
That validity and this validity.
I'm coming to your point. We
Okay.
discussed about experimental validity, where we discussed external validity and internal validity, isn't it? Is it that? Hello. Yesterday we discussed
Yes,
about
sir.
research
Yes, sir. Yes,
experimental
sir.
validity, internal and external
Mm-hmm.
validity. External
Mm-hmm.
validity means if it is lacking, then we can't analyze. Internal validity means it should be with the instrument. Okay. If it is experimental research, you are conducting research, you are experimenting a study, you are doing experimentation, but if the tool is fault, you can't complete your experiment. That is internal validity. It will affect the internal validity. Because instrument measure କରିବା ପାଇଁ ତମକୁ problem ହେବ. Yeah. And today I discussed about the characteristics of a good tool. Good tool by which or through which you will collect data. Suppose validity, the very purpose for which it is developed, if it fails to measure that, then the tool will lack validity. For example, if the purpose is to assess the reasoning ability of the child, can our social science question or language question fulfill that objective purpose? If we want to know the mathematical ability of the child, will we ask language question?
No, sir.
No.
No.
Means the purpose will be diluted. For which the test is being developed will be diluted. The purpose will not be fulfilled. It means the tool lacks validity. For example, ଆଜି ତମ ସାଙ୍ଗ ଘରେ ତମେ ଯାଇକି କହିବ ମୁଁ ଆସିଗଲି ମା, ତମ ସାଙ୍ଗ ନାଁରେ x ଯାଇକି y ଘରେ କହିବ ମା ଆସିଗଲି ଖାଇବାକୁ ଦିଅ, y ଯାଇକି x ଘରେ କହିବ, will they be accepted?
No, sir. No.
Because you have a face value, isn't it? Face value. That is validity. Yes.
Okay, sir. Clear. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. So let's call it a day here. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So you are requested to leave the group, please. Priyambada, madam, please leave the group. Priyambada, madam. Hello. मैडम आपण ग्रुप लीव हुंतु रिकॉर्डिंग टा नले चालू रहिबो. हेलो. Okay.